Realization swept through a specific person lately, and it is shaking them right down to the bone. They woke up to something overlooked for too long, and that something is your irreplaceable and undeniable worth. Regret forming inside their chest did not arrive overnight. It built slowly until it became impossible to ignore. You carry a presence most people never encounter twice, and this person finally grasps that undeniable truth. The rarity of who you are was invisible to them, but distance revealed what closeness hid from sight. What makes this reading so potent is that the awareness hitting them, it carries genuine fear behind it. They are terrified of a future where your name, your voice, no longer belongs inside their existence. The version of life they pictured without you, it looked manageable at first, but now it feels unbearable. Every quiet moment forces them to confront what they stood to lose, and the answer keeps devastating them. That realization sits heavier each morning, and they cannot outrun it, no matter how desperately they try. This is not nostalgia dressed as regret, the cards confirm. It runs far deeper than surface level missing. A permanent shift occurred in how they perceive you, and that shift cannot be undone or reversed anymore. They took your steadiness for granted, and the absence carved a crater they feel every single day. Let us see what the cards reveal, because they validate every layer of what I just described. The first card forward is the Queen of Wands, and she radiates everything this person now recognizes. The Queen of Wands represents magnetic confidence, warmth that fills a room, and loyalty demanding no recognition. You possess a fire most people spend lifetimes searching for, and this card confirms they see it now. The Queen of Wands says your energy left a mark on them, one no replacement could ever duplicate. They measured every interaction since against your standard, and nothing has even come close to matching it. Your presence taught them what genuine devotion resembles, and the Queen of Wands confirms that lesson arrived late. This card does not surface for ordinary bonds. It appears when the connection carries significance that reshapes lives. The Queen of Wands reflects a radiance you carry naturally, one they mistook for ordinary until it vanished. The next card is the Five of Cups, and it exposes grief at the center of their awakening. The Five of Cups reveals they stare at what was lost, unable to focus on anything that remains. Three spilled cups represent the damage caused, and the Five of Cups confirms they finally see it. The grief is not performative. The Five of Cups confirms it lives in their stomach and rises nightly. They replay specific moments where they fell short, and each memory cuts differently because awareness sharpened the blade. The sting of hindsight sharpens every passing week, and the Five of Cups says it will not ease. Two cups still stand behind them untouched, but they cannot turn because regret holds them completely frozen. The Five of Cups says mourning intensified recently, and their awareness of what they lost only deepens further. Then we have the Hierophant, and this card introduces a sacred dimension to the recognition building within them. The Hierophant confirms this person views your bond as something carrying spiritual weight, not just emotional attachment. They recognize what linked you two operated on a frequency, one ordinary connections never reach or sustain. The Hierophant says regret transformed into reverence, and that transformation marks a permanent shift the cards honor deeply. A sacred understanding settled over them, and the Hierophant confirms they hold your memory with absolute devotion. This card surfaces only when the bond carries karmic significance, and its presence here seals the reading entirely. The message landed with full force. This person realizes you are the one they will regret losing forever. Now, let us go into it, because this section speaks only to what lives inside of you. A tension has been coiling beneath your surface for weeks, and you gave it no permission to unravel. You walk through your days performing stability, but underneath that performance, a different story plays on repeat. The fatigue you carry is not from labor. It was born from the constant effort of staying composed. Part of you senses that a chapter is shifting, but naming it out loud feels dangerously permanent. You brace for impact even in calm moments, because peace became something your nervous system stopped trusting. You trained yourself to function without acknowledgement, and that training cost you more than you ever calculated. A grief sits inside your ribcage with no clear origin, just a steady and deeply familiar ache. You wonder, at times, genuinely, if the version others rely on is even the real one. The mask fits so well now that removing it feels riskier than wearing it did at the start. The instinct to protect became so automatic, you forgot you also deserve to be protected by others. A loneliness exists inside you that has nothing to do with being alone. It lives in being unseen. You poured into everyone around you for so long, and the emptiness of that imbalance finally caught up. The permission to rest, to simply exist without earning it, you never once granted that gift to yourself. Let us go deeper, because the cards speak to the layers you keep folded beneath your calm exterior. The first card drawn is the Nine of Swords, and it names the anxiety you carry at night. The Nine of Swords confirms those sleepless hours are real, the ones where your mind replays every wound. Thoughts spiral once the room goes dark, and the Nine of Swords says you battle them entirely alone. The worry you hold is not irrational. It is rooted in patterns that taught you to expect disappointment. Your body memorized the rhythm of letdown so thoroughly that bracing for it became second nature to you. Every optimistic thought gets intercepted by a memory, reminding you in detail just how fragile hope can be. The Nine of Swords reflects a mind that exhausts itself before sunrise, running through scenarios that never arrive. You punish yourself with questions no one asked, and the weight of that habit erodes you. The Nine of Swords confirms your overthinking is not a flaw, it is a survival tool that overstayed. The next card stepping in is the High Priestess, and she reveals the knowing you keep locked away. The High Priestess confirms you already hold the answers, the ones you pretend to still be searching for. Your intuition has been screaming truths your conscious mind refuses to validate, and that disconnect drains you. The High Priestess says you feel things before they happen, and carrying foresight without support wears you thin. You downplay your own perception constantly, dismissing gut feelings because trusting them means trusting yourself fully. The High Priestess reflects a soul sitting on sacred knowledge, yet doubting every whisper that rises from within. You know more than you let on, and the High Priestess confirms silence became its own heavy burden. Then we have the Four of Pentacles, and it speaks to the grip you hold over your heart. The Four of Pentacles confirms you have been holding everything tightly, refusing to release emotions, trust, or control. Letting go terrifies you because the last time you released your grip, it left scars you still trace. The Four of Pentacles says your protectiveness is valid, but it blocks the very thing you crave most. You clutch stability like a lifeline, and the Four of Pentacles confirms that clutching became a prison. The gap between what you want and what you allow yourself, it grows wider with each passing day. The cards revealed a soul bracing against its own tenderness, caught between wanting to feel and fearing it. Everything uncovered here confirms your heart remains wide open underneath, no matter how tightly you try to hold.
Okay, let us dive into this because this section belongs entirely to their inner world alone. This person lives inside a reckoning that arrived uninvited, and it altered how they see everything around them. The pride that once shielded them from vulnerability, it cracked and left them staring at their own reflection. They built an identity around certainty, and now that certainty collapsed beneath the weight of what they lost. A question haunts them daily that they cannot escape, centered on whether the damage they caused is repairable. The answer terrifies them more than the question, because deep down, they suspect they already know it. They move through routine differently now, carrying a heaviness in their posture that others have started to notice. Sleep provides no relief because the mind replays moments of failure on a loop that never fully stops. Their confidence fractured in a place they did not expect, and pretending otherwise exhausts them more each day. The version of themselves they believed they outgrew, the uncertain and tender one, resurfaced without any permission. They catch themselves mid-thought, wondering what might have been preserved if they had chosen differently. Accountability settles over them slowly, not as punishment, but as a quiet and undeniable recognition of truth. The emotional cost of their choices became impossible to rationalize, and that loss of logic unravels them. Their certainty used to be their armor, and watching it dissolve exposed nerve endings they forgot they had. Let us see what the cards expose, because they map the landscape living beneath their controlled exterior. The first card drawn for their side is the King of Swords, and it reflects their rational mask. The King of Swords confirms this person leads with logic, keeping emotion locked at a calculated distance. Their intellect became a fortress, and the King of Swords says, that fortress now feels like a cage. They analyzed every outcome before making a move, yet never calculated the scenario of losing permanently. The King of Swords reveals a mind overriding instinct with reason, even when reason leads them further astray. They told themselves that logic would protect them from regret, and the King of Swords confirms it failed. Their sharpest trait became their greatest blind spot, because clarity of thought never translated into clarity of feeling. The King of Swords shows a person trapped inside their intelligence, unable to access what the heart demands. The next card arriving is the Three of Swords, and it pierces directly through the wall they constructed. The Three of Swords confirms genuine heartbreak lives inside them, not surface grief, but structural emotional damage. They feel the sting of separation in their chest daily, and the Three of Swords says it deepens. The sorrow they carry is not abstract. It is attached to specific memories that replay with devastating precision. The Three of Swords reveals they blame themselves more than circumstance, and that self-accusation runs incredibly deep. They know which exact moment the fracture began, and the Three of Swords confirms they revisit it obsessively. The pain does not dull over time. The Three of Swords says it sharpens as understanding replaces denial. Then we have Temperance, and this card introduces a shift happening beneath the surface of their grief. Temperance confirms a rebalancing has quietly begun inside of them, even if they cannot see it yet. The chaos they once operated from, it is slowly replaced by a patience they have never practiced before. Temperance says they learn moderation where extremes once ruled, and that painful education changes them at their core. The healing forming within them is not dramatic. It moves like water finding its level, steady and inevitable. Temperance reveals this person is becoming new through pain, not in spite of it, but because of it. Regret turned inward became alchemy, and Temperance confirms it forges a version of them that finally understands. The cards exposed a person caught between who they were and who they become, with no way back. So, let us get into it, because this section is entirely about action and forward motion. The stillness around this connection officially ended, and the cards confirm tangible movement already began in their world. What froze between you two for an extended period, it started to crack and shift in recent days. This person began making adjustments, aligning their daily life closer to where you exist within it. The changes are not hypothetical. They are visible and deliberate and pointed in one unmistakable direction. They cleared physical and mental space recently, removing distractions that kept them occupied and emotionally unavailable. Old habits that served as barriers, they have been quietly dismantled, one after another, without hesitation. Their schedule shifted in ways that create new openings, and those openings were not made by accident. Patterns that once enforced distance between you two, those patterns got deliberately broken and rearranged from inside. A message sits in draft form, revised multiple times, but inching closer to being sent directly to you. They rehearsed the approach more than once, adjusting tone because getting it wrong terrifies them entirely. The groundwork they laid is meticulous, and each calculated step served one very specific and clear purpose. Nothing about their preparation was casual, and the intent behind every single move points directly at reconciliation. Mutual connections may factor into what unfolds, because this person positioned themselves strategically near your orbit. Let us see what the cards confirm, because they map how this movement plays out from this point. The first card drawn is Justice, and it introduces balance and karmic correction into this timeline. Justice confirms the universe actively rebalances what went wrong, and no further delay will be tolerated. The scales tipped too far in one direction, and Justice says the correction is now fully underway. This card carries formal energy, suggesting a structured conversation or an official reconnection attempt on the horizon. Justice does not operate through chaos. It moves with precision, and the approach mirrors that exact energy. The timing of contact is not random. Justice confirms it was calibrated to land at the precise moment. The contact that arrives will not be impulsive, Justice confirms. It will be measured and fully intentional. Accountability drives the action, and Justice says this person prepared their words carefully before delivering a single one. They reach out from clarity and earned understanding, not from desperation or impulsive emotional overflow whatsoever. Justice demands truth as the foundation of every next step, and this person appears ready to offer it. The next card arriving is the Ten of Wands, and it reveals the burden carried into their approach. The Ten of Wands confirms they move toward you under enormous weight, carrying responsibility for everything that broke. They did not shed baggage before reaching out. They bring it openly because honesty demands that vulnerability. The load on their shoulders remains visible, and the Ten of Wands says they refuse to set it down. This card shows forward motion despite exhaustion, confirming they push toward you even when effort feels crushing. The Ten of Wands does not allow halfway effort. It demands full surrender to the weight of accountability. The Ten of Wands says the final stretch of distance is the hardest, but they keep walking through it. They accepted that repair requires labor, and the Ten of Wands confirms they committed to carrying it fully. Every step closer costs them something, and the Ten of Wands confirms they pay that cost without complaint. Combined with Justice, these cards paint a picture of deliberate and accountable movement that will not reverse. No shortcut exists in what approaches, and the cards confirm this person chose the honest path toward you. The action phase arrived, the path cleared through accountability, and contact approaches with purpose locked firmly in place. Now, come in close, because this section reveals what this person buries and never speaks aloud. A confession lives inside their chest that they guard fiercely, and it consumes them every single night. The words they cannot say, they carry more weight than anything they manage to speak in your presence. They rehearse admissions in the dark, whispering truths to ceilings that will never repeat a word. The depth of what they withhold would alter everything, and that knowledge terrifies them beyond measure. The confession they rehearse most often strips them completely bare, and they never manage to finish speaking it. They want to confess that losing you fractured something permanent, something they never knew could break. The 8 behind their silence is not casual. It occupies a space that nothing else can fill. They admit to themselves nightly, in complete silence, that what they damaged was the most significant bond. A part of them accepted, reluctantly, that no future connection will replicate what existed between you two. They compared every warmth since to yours, and the comparison left them emptier than loneliness itself. The admission they guard most fiercely is that they still belong to you, even after everything. They carry your absence like a physical wound, pressing into it privately to remind themselves what was real. They never stopped considering you theirs, and that unspoken claim haunts them because they lost the right. A hunger to be fully transparent eats at them daily, and they suppress it with enormous effort. The silence between what they feel and what they show, it became the heaviest thing they own. Let us see what the cards expose, because they strip back every layer this person tries to guard. The first card drawn is the Devil, and it reveals an obsession they cannot quiet or control. The devil confirms this person is bound to thoughts of you in ways that border on compulsion. They cannot stop replaying your voice, your patterns, and the devil says that fixation only intensifies. The devil reveals desire beneath their logic, raw and unfiltered and impossible for them to rationalize. They confess privately that the pull toward you operates beyond willpower, and resistance only made it stronger. The devil says their obsession with your memory transformed into something permanent, woven into their nervous system. The devil says they crave your proximity with urgency that embarrasses them because it defies every wall. An appetite for your attention consumes them in neutral moments, catching them off guard and leaving them shaken. The devil confirms they fantasize about honesty, about sitting before you and releasing every swallowed truth. Their attachment is not rational, the devil says. It lives in the body and bones, not the mind. The next card is the Two of Cups, and it reveals a confession rooted in spiritual union. The Two of Cups confirms they privately view your bond, without question, as the deepest connection they experienced. They confess in silence that when they picture peace, your face is the only image arriving with it. The Two of Cups says they already chose you internally, and that choice was never undone. A sacred recognition lives inside them, and the Two of Cups confirms it predates logic and outlasts argument. They want to build a foundation with you that nothing external can threaten, and that desire shames them. The Two of Cups reveals they see you as an equal in spirit, mind, and emotional depth entirely. The Two of Cups says they mourn the label they never gave this bond because it deserved one. They confess that no framework captures what they feel because it exceeds every definition they ever understood. The Two of Cups says devotion crossed from feeling into identity, and separating the two became impossible. They bury the deepest confession beneath everything, the certainty that you were designed specifically for them alone. The devil and the Two of Cups expose a soul consumed by sacred obsession, hidden behind controlled silence. Every confession uncovered today confirms they surrendered to you long ago, even if their lips never admitted it. Okay, let us bring this reading to its close, because the final pieces now fall into place. The near future holds a shift that cannot be delayed, and the cards confirm it already started. Within the coming days, direct contact will arrive that changes the dynamic between you two entirely. This person will show up with a transparency they never offered, and the sincerity will be unmistakable. The first card for this close is Judgment, and it signals a spiritual awakening entering your timeline. Judgment confirms a resurrection of this connection is underway, called forward by forces larger than either of you. Old versions of this bond are released, and Judgment says what replaces them carries far more depth. The universe issued a final call on this connection, and Judgment confirms neither of you can ignore it. Then we have the Ace of Cups, flooding the near future with emotional renewal and completely fresh beginning. The Ace of Cups confirms a wave of pure feeling approaches, one that washes away all residual doubt. New emotional territory opens between you, and the Ace of Cups says it arrives with overwhelming clarity. The near future holds reconciliation that feels divinely timed, earned through pain and built on mutual recognition. The cards see this reunion approaching with sacred momentum, and Judgment confirms there is no escaping what arrives. My advice as we close this reading is direct, and I need you to carry every single word. Do not minimize what you deserve from this person. Your standards protected you when nothing else did. When they arrive with their truth, listen without performing forgiveness you have not genuinely reached yet. Allow the process to unfold at the pace your heart needs, not the pace their guilt demands. You earned the right to ask difficult questions, and judgment says the answers owed to you will come. Trust that your worth was never in question, even during seasons where it felt completely invisible. Protect your peace fiercely, but leave the door open enough for sincerity to reach you when it arrives. Be patient with your own healing, because the Ace of Cups confirms the best of this is still ahead. The message today was this: this person realizes you are the type they will regret losing forever. That message echoed through every card across this reading, from the very first draw to the last. The Queen of Wands opened with your fire, and the Five of Cups exposed their grief over it. The Hierophant placed sacred weight on this bond, and the Nine of Swords named your inner anxiety. The High Priestess honored your knowing, and the Four of Pentacles revealed the grip you hold on yourself. The King of Swords exposed their armor, and the Three of Swords pierced through to their heartbreak. Temperance introduced quiet healing, and justice demanded accountability as the foundation of every step taken forward. The Ten of Wands confirmed they carry the weight, and the Devil exposed their consuming sacred obsession. The Two of Cups sealed the bond with soul recognition, and Judgment issued the final spiritual call. The Ace of Cups closed everything with emotional renewal, confirming that fresh beginning already waits for you. 14 cards across 6 sections, every one pointing toward the same undeniable truth about your life. This person woke up to the reality that you are irreplaceable, and that awareness will not fade. What lives between you carries a weight that time cannot erase, and distance cannot diminish or undo. You are the soul that rewrites the meaning of loss, for anyone fortunate enough to have known you. Whatever unfolds from here, carry the certainty that the cards spoke clearly today and entirely in your favor. This connection holds earned weight, it holds promise, and it holds a future both of you deserve. Thank you for being here today, for trusting this reading, and for letting these messages reach your heart. I appreciate you deeply, and I am sending all the love and warmth wherever you are right now. The near future holds a shift that cannot be delayed, and the cards confirm it already started. Within the coming days, direct contact will arrive that changes the dynamic between you two entirely. This person will show up with a transparency they never offered, and the sincerity will be unmistakable. The first card for this close is Judgment, and it signals a spiritual awakening entering your timeline. Judgment confirms a resurrection of this connection is underway, called forward by forces larger than either of you. Old versions of this bond are released, and Judgment says what replaces them carries far more depth. The universe issued a final call on this connection, and Judgment confirms neither of you can ignore it. Then we have the Ace of Cups, flooding the near future with emotional renewal and completely fresh beginning. The Ace of Cups confirms a wave of pure feeling approaches, one that washes away all residual doubt. New emotional territory opens between you, and the Ace of Cups says it arrives with overwhelming clarity. The near future holds reconciliation that feels divinely timed,
earned through